Let's try that again.
Hey, there we are.
Welcome, horror fan, to HHN 365/live. We're trying a new thing where we're going to record this and release it in the feed. So whether you're watching live or listening in the feed, welcome.
Yeah, definitely. This is not a thing moving forward necessarily. Yeah. This is a necessity for the week.
Necessity for the weekend to try it out and see how it goes. But you have Duff, Jess, and Mike here, and we're going to be going over... what are we going over?
The announcement.
We have an IP. Hollywood has an announcement finally. Hollywood has dates. Orlando has an IP house. Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about. Here, let's also let's scoot a little more this way, Mike. You're not.
Yeah, I'm not.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, conversation. All right, so let's talk about the big one first, I guess, right? Yeah. Of course, our first IP announcement has happened for both coasts, and for Hollywood, that is the first announcement in general. So, of course, that is A Quiet Place. Let's just take a look at the video that they released.
Oh, warning, unusual audio-visual activity in your area.
If they hear you, they hunt you. A Quiet Place. Only at Universal Halloween Horror Nights, where horror lives.
Otis!
Otis!
It's Otis.
You big, beautiful bitch.
Double Otis.
I'm starting to like Otis. I'm not going to lie. And in this trailer especially, he's warming on me.
He is.
Doesn't
he look like a little stop motion in that Halloween Horror Nights one? Like very Beetlejuicy stop motion.
Yeah.
You know?
He's like fun. He's like fun and campy. Like he's not like quite full sci-fi. He's like fun and campy. And that's what I'm starting to like Otis.
Yeah. I want merch with Otis on it. Like I don't want the Quiet Place shirt we got.
No.
Today I want
merch. If we don't get Otis merch by the end of the year, I'm not.
Or like a patch for the jacket. That's Otis. That's what I want.
There we go. Otis patch.
Otis patch.
Yeah. So what do we think of the announcement video itself? Because I think they did really well. A lot. I've liked the ones they've done in recent years. It's kind of told this story. It's felt kind of grounded and real. But this one added actual suspense, fear, a death, like a legit death on camera. So I think as far as an IP announcement can go, this is pretty up there.
Oh, I love the video. I think it's my favorite announcement video in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't get him for the originals, so I'm a big fan. Otis. That's it.
It's definitely the best video that they've released in a while, I would say for sure.
Yeah. Well, still, because, they used to do the announcement for IPs where it was it's just all the IP, but combining this real world factor of we're filming this thing outside of what you can see in the film while still keeping true to what that IP is. I think they did really well there with that.
Yeah, I think they started doing that a little bit last year, right? Mm-hmm. But I think this year they've, at least from what we've seen, they really start to hone in on telling a particular story and tying it into the event and not just showing the IP.
It's not just Michael Myers in someone's house again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully that continues with I guess 5 more announcements if you count what Hollywood's going to have.
Oh, that math does not matter.
No, not for us, not Orlando, but for Hollywood.
We have 7 houses now. What are you talking about?
So let's go over what we have in details from A Quiet Place. So first of all, it was confirmed through a Deadline article, actually leaked a little bit early, as it typically does when Deadline or anyone does these, that they're going to be the first and second films. Day one, the film that is coming out this month, will not be featured in the house, at least according to the article. It'll be the first house ever to utilize actual like American Sign Language from its scare actors, and that'll be on both coasts. So I think that's a really cool aspect, and that's a really good inclusivity addition.
Yeah.
That I wasn't sure if they were actually going to do. So I'm happy they are.
That's great.
So right now we're looking at the key art. I love the video. The key art, tad boring. Also, you'll notice there is not the likeness of Emily Blunt. That is just random woman.
Yeah, that's random stock photo.
Yeah.
Or random team member they found for reference.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Very much like when they did The Shining. Wasn't The Shining shirt the one where it wasn't them? It was like drawn. Something like that with an IP, very similar.
Yeah, no.
Tony,
I'm not a fan of the poster.
someone said it looks like Tony Collette. I absolutely agree with you.
Boom.
It looks exactly like Tony Collette. I thought it was day one because of the poster, because I was like, oh, it's not Emily Blunt. It would obviously be her if it was. Obviously not.
No. And unfortunately, it's becoming more of a trend in recent years that they'll get these IPs, but then not grab the likeness for the characters, where I feel like for the most part throughout HHN's history, if they're getting the IP, like actually paying for the IP, they were also paying for likeness.
Yeah.
So I don't like this trend we're going towards of, yeah, we'll get the IP. That's it. That's all.
And we don't know for certain that's the case.
No, we don't.
We just have this here. But
I would say they would, if they had the likeness, they would put them on the key art.
Yeah, but then you got to pay the actor. And I kind of get that side of it, because you do have to pay for someone's likeness.
No, of
so.
course. That's what I'm saying. I think if they had the likeness,
Yeah.
it would be on the key art. John Krasinski's face would be on this key art if they had the likeness, for sure.
It's his movie.
And Emily Blunt's huge too. So, yeah. Let's see. A few comments about that. If it doesn't look like Emily Blunt, maybe it won't be a book report house. Maybe, please. Maybe a more original take
Or like just
on just being in that world. Maybe. I don't know if that's where they're going to go, because they specifically did call out it's going to be the first two films.
Yeah.
we're going to get some iconic locations,
Yeah.
right? We're going to
Yeah.
get the bridge. We're going to get the grocery store.
Mhm.
We're going to get some iconic places.
Yeah.
Ooh, that bridge scene. That's one thing I'd love to see them pull off in like a big scale.
Oh,
yeah.
What if that's the beginning?
Oh, kind of like a facade of it.
Yeah. Almost like that's what you're entering into. Like walking down from like
Like
far away.
Unmasked.
Oh,
Yeah, like Unmasked. Yes, literally the same concept.
and kind of like one of those like shadow box
Yeah.
side scares. You just watch
Uh-huh.
the kid get snatched.
Oh,
That'd be amazing.
I love watching kids get snatched.
I like that, but I would also like maybe like halfway through walking into that scene
Oh, that would be good.
would be really cool too.
Very
Yeah,
effective.
like
that would be really good.
Like I love when there's like a big giant scene about halfway through. It's like that's my favorite.
I think that would be a great scene for them to do with that too. So the hunt line says that's Bimily Alunt. Yeah, basically.
Goodness.
Basically. Donnie asks, do you guys think there's a possibility of this house having more creative freedom since a lesser known IP? I don't expect it to have more. I mean, it did pretty well. Obviously, it's not like a horror icon style film,
It has a franchise.
but it has a franchise. The films have done well. They brought in money, been decent at the box office. Has two pretty big headlining stars. I'm not sure that I'd say it's one of the lesser known IPs.
I feel like people have been asking for A Quiet Place for a very long time. Now, recently, I think it's kind of the attitude has turned on A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
But I remember back in like 2018, 2019, this was talked about all the time.
Mhm.
Like, when does it come to the event? How are they going to pull it off? Type of situation of like, it would be so cool. And now it's here. And it seems like people are a little cooled off on the idea. I'm excited to at least see how it's pulled off, especially if we see, now that we know it's going to be 1 and 2, we're going to see some of the iconic scenes. It's got to be puppets. I'm sure we'll get into that.
We're going to get into that. We have something coming up, a little bit more info on that for sure.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next comment then. They should have added the monster, at least its shadow on the poster.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do think shadow would have been great. I
Yeah.
get not fully revealing, but I think these claw marks are a little boring.
Mhm.
It's giving very like werewolf to me, and not those creatures. Even though like they have claws, I'm a big fan of the first one. I have not seen the second one. Obviously, I have to watch it now, but the creatures are so scary and like ominous, and they're massive.
Mhm.
So like, give us maybe if even half of her face was covered in like a shadow of it or something. Like, I just really don't like this key art. It's up there with Triplets of Terror right now for me, and my least favorite.
I don't think it. I think Triplets of Terror is actually bad.
Oh, it's the worst.
This is just very uninspired.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
better.
relying on you knowing the
Yeah.
IP. If you did not know the IP, you would have no clue what this house entails.
Yeah, definitely.
The shush is just really sending me to another planet. It's shh.
All right, moving on to the next comment from Galvanized Horror. Could this be our gateway back to using Paramount IPs? Scream. I don't know that it necessarily opens the door more than we already had it open before. It's just grabbing a timely IP. That's probably about it. The working relationship is phenomenal behind the scenes right now. Maybe, who knows?
What are some of the other Paramount IPs we have gotten? Does anyone?
We've gotten. I feel like we had one in the past
I
2
don't
years.
know. I don't.
Someone who is
Yeah.
can.
Someone
Some
in
of the
the back.
comments put it out, but I feel like we have had a Paramount IP in the last couple of years.
My only thing with getting Scream is now they're doing 7 without the new cast that they just established and made people like. And I don't know if I would want Scream, because it would probably have to be whatever the new Scream movie is, not the OG.
Right.
Mhm.
So everyone who's screaming they want Scream, you got to think about this now.
Yeah, you probably. If we could ever get the original, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
I'd be worried until Scream is kind of dormant for a while that the original is not what we would get.
I feel like they always do that though. They always reset that cast. Like,
Oh yeah, it happens quick.
Well, this was like a very big issue. That's the
Was
only
it? Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
They fired Melissa.
Ferreira
Yeah. And then, what's her name?
for being pro-Palestine.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
What's her fucking Jenna
Jenna
Ortega backed
Ortega.
out as well.
she's probably too expensive. To be honest, they probably don't want to pay.
Apparently, she was going to have a very small role, but she left because they fired Melissa. So, that's not confirmed, but the timing,
So they're just gonna reset the whole cast.
Yeah.
That's shit.
basically.
It'll still do well at Scream. Like,
Justin, one word that will terrify everyone with this house: corn. Yeah, if you're Orlando, you might know that corn is kind of the hurricane curse. And there is a lot of cornfield featured in this film.
don't grow real corn.
Yeah.
I mean, even when it was fake corn,
It's true.
we still got it.
I'm having a lot of
31.
anxiety about this hurricane season. It's
Yeah.
been so dry
Yeah.
and so not rainy
It's gonna be
this summer that our rainy season, our hurricane season, is going to be a fucking shit show. Not to bring everyone down, but that is my.
Yeah, there's a good chance. I'd prefer that doesn't happen, but
Mhm.
let's go over to Chico Soul, who says, I think they'll repurpose some Demogorgon costumes for the Quiet Place creatures, and I'm all for it. Yeah, I mean, they're similar. I think these have to be bigger than Demogorgons, though, because these creatures are massive.
I'm thinking like the Mind Flayer. Like some of them are that big, right? Am I wrong?
I think
Aren't there really big ones? Or no, they're not that big.
Not-
It's been a minute since I've seen
I mean,
this movie.
technically, the Mind Flayer puppet size you can make work for you.
Yeah, just
It just depends on the skill you put around it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
but they are Mind Flayer-esque for sure.
right.
Yeah.
But
It's giving
they're just
that.
not that big. I
Okay.
think they're about half the size.
Okay.
I think.
So like take a demo dog, add a Demogorgon on top of it, and then you have it.
Yeah. Something like that.
They've got enough stuff lying in the back.
To go along with you, Mike Daniel says, they're saying this hurricane season is going to be awful. So don't make it worse with the corn. Don't make it worse with the corn. Please.
There's gonna be corn
There's got to be corn.
as it's raining outside right now.
Oh,
It's
man.
like, oh, you brought corn up?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, we'll get to this a little bit more detail, but Alex Bush says, excited to hear Universal Studios
Mhm.
Hollywood is going to be bringing in the mechanic teams into play. especially with the venue that it's in.
Ube. Ube.
Ube.
Love that Ube venue.
I want some ube right now.
Arkham says, can we talk about the usage of ASL? Yeah, of course.
Yes, we can.
As I mentioned earlier, I think it's a great way to have inclusivity. And it's not something I fully expected them to do, but I'm very happy they're actually going to implement like legit ASL into this house.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can do it, right?
Yeah. It'll be interesting how the actors like utilize it with their scares. Because like, so specifically back in the day in high school theater, Daniel, my best friend, his high school had a deaf program or a hard of hearing program. So their musicals, their dancing would be sign language involved.
Oh.
So, and they've like been on national news for this and stuff. It's really interesting. So like it was part of the art. So I see HHN kind of like taking that approach to it where they're using it, but it's part of the scare. So I don't know. We're going to have to wait until a team member preview for someone to tell us, but there's a way to do it where it's still artistic. And I don't see it like being they're just focused on that. It's going to be part of the flow. I feel like.
Well, we hope it's part of the flow.
Well, they also have they have sign language interpreters around the whole park, so they can just bring them in to actually train the cast.
That's true.
So
that is true.
Very excited.
The hotline says we're going to need weekly corn updates, please. Well, I believe this is in a soundstage, so we won't be able to see it till we go.
This is not Barn Watch.
No.
2024.
Oh, Barn Watch.
We miss you.
Miss that. There's going to be a barn. We promised there's going to be a barn. There's kind of a barn.
It's an open air barn.
Back to Mike Daniels. I'm excited to see how Orlando executes the environment to build the suspense in the same way that these movies do.
Same.
And that's a huge thing. I think one of the toughest things to translate to a house in general is like just pure suspense. How? What do you do? Because this movie is like 95% suspense, and then that 5% you get the payoff.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to have to just be all the scenes where the monsters are around, right? Like, and they're screeching. You hear a lot of like whispers. And
I think it'll be a lot of like, you're in scenes where like the scare actors are like hiding, and you hear the noises of the monsters that they're trying to keep quiet from in that moment, and then the actual moment where these monsters come out.
What are the triggers going to be?
Oh, there's going to be so many.
A lot of shush. A lot of shushes.
It's me at work.
I mean, if it's loud enough, I'm going to get startled by it.
That's the thing is
Just a nice shush right in my ear. Yeah.
I'm expecting this one to be one of the scarier ones if it's executed kind of the way we're all talking, because we've never had a quiet house. So the closest thing we've had is like Graveyard Games with the, well, I guess the kids' room is really what more I'm thinking of. It's quiet, and then like a big crescendo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what I see this house being, and that fucking terrifies me. Or like, why can't I think Hill House, the hallway in Hill House. It was very quiet. It was very dark. And then, oh my fucking God, she's above our heads.
Yeah. And I think there will be some like background, like stuff the whole time as well. So it won't be like fully quiet. I think there is going to be a soundtrack. There's going to be like, but yeah, I think you're not going to get your traditional lines of the movie. I think too often. Like,
Yeah.
I think we're going to get the firework birth scene.
Ooh.
Because that's a loud scene on
That is.
purpose. So
I think that would be a good like room to walk into. That's just almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like an overwhelming scare. You're used to this more kind of toned down, not, like overly loud. And then suddenly go in, it's lights, it's loud, it's intense. Before we go further, we've talked a lot about this without even reading the details that were provided to us. So as usual, they've given us 2 blurbs about this house. The first one is, make a sound and you won't last long. Monstrous creatures will hunt you down as the world of the first 2 films come to terrifying life. And then also, silence your screams if you want to survive this terrifying post-apocalyptic world like the Abbott family. You must keep quiet as you travel from the farmhouse to the woods to the foundry. As soon as you make a sound, monstrous creatures who can hear Oh, it's gone. But there you go. Sorry, I could barely read that.
it's gone. Am I the only one who read it as monstrous instead of monster?
In my head, it came through.
Okay.
Anyway. I'm kind of used to that at that point.
Well, if you're Spanish, it is monstrous.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
Very inclusive here.
So yeah, that didn't really add much, to be fair.
No.
That's kind of what that's A Quiet Place.
I like this image better because it's actually from the film.
Yeah, right. This does say that you're basically gonna do what the Abbott family did, which kind of makes it sound like it's gonna be you and not you in their shoes. Just doing the same thing they did, basically going to the same locations, but not actually through their POV, but as yourself. Of course, sometimes they say stuff like this, and that's nothing like how the house comes out. So take that with a grain of salt, to be fair.
Yeah. This is written by someone who did not design the house. This is
exactly. Yeah. Galvanized Horror. Murdy confirmed the Abbotts will be in Hollywood at least.
There we go.
There you go.
So, okay, that just made me realize Orlando specifically needs a lot of short scare actors this year for the kids, for goblins, for possibly the triplets, depending on how young they are. For sweets. That's a lot of fucking kids in Orlando.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Hey.
We got a bunch of people that can do it.
There's plenty. So let's move on to something else that released with A Quiet Place. I almost said The Last of Us. Jesus. Merch, of course. A merchandise reveal.
Post-apocalyptic, just in your brain.
So there was a merchandise reveal for A Quiet Place, dropped like literally right after the announcement. Sometimes it takes a couple hours. Like the second they announced that this was out. So you can find this over at the boutique, which is brand new. They actually just opened that today. It looks phenomenal. And then, of course, at 5 and Dime, Universal Studios, Florida. I don't believe Hollywood. I haven't seen anything out of Hollywood yet. Maybe someone else can confirm, but I haven't seen it in Hollywood.
Didn't they just announce it at 6, though, officially? Like our time, Hollywood? They were tweeting at 6 o'clock our time, so like 3 o'clock their time. Like, more so. I saw the video come out, but then they had like official like releases.
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know. But in this release, they did have a shirt. What's new? It's the key art is on the front of the shirt. Again, kind of an uninspired design for me.
At least it's not a perfect square, and they actually faded it out.
They did. I do appreciate it.
I'm giving it a little bit of
You're
credit.
giving it more credit.
Show the back stuff.
I will show the back. Rule 1: don't make a sound. I don't like that. Don't like that. One thing I do like: the shoulder sleeve. I love that 2024.
Oh,
I like that.
I love that
Oh,
2024.
I like that.
Wow, I love this little Mohawk skull guy. I'm a big fan of him.
Oh, and the Hunt line has confirmed Hollywood does have the merch.
There we go.
So good to
Okay.
go. You can grab it on either coast.
There was something else too. Did you take a picture of that or no?
Yes, I did. Gonna move on to the mug. So on the front, A Quiet Place standard logo, and then the Halloween Horror Nights 2024 logo on the back. But guess what? It's heat reactive.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I don't like what it looks like
I can't
after.
really see.
I can't see it.
Oh, it's the key art.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the whole key art.
Yeah. I prefer
that's
it when
not
it's just kind of this like almost like matte black and
Yeah.
then simple A Quiet Place, simple Horror Nights logo. So just drink cold stuff out of it and you're good to go.
I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying that.
Well, that's why.
Yeah, I think it's exciting that. Well, I also like that they didn't just give us an ugly ass trucker hat with the logo too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they tried something with this mug. Thank you.
Is the trucker hat like the cheapest hat to buy? It's gotta be like
It has
because we always get the trucker
the
hat.
You would
quality
think a
that
dad
puffy one. It's horrible.
Who wears a trucker hat?
Is Ashton Kutcher still around? though?
Right, Paris Hilton.
Keeping them in business.
Arkham says obviously meh poster, meh merch.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because they just went with the key art and said, yep, here's the merch. It's the key art. Have fun.
And then I don't know if the merch will change for the season either. Because The Last of Us, didn't we get the white shirt back last? I can't remember. There was a long sleeve.
Did we get I don't know. I don't think we got the white back.
Oh, so maybe we'll get something else. Because there was a long sleeve. I remember that. That was an extra one.
I'd be surprised if we don't get something else once the event
I can
starts.
hope so.
Didn't think they could make a worse shirt than the orange one.
Oh, yeah. The orange one is high fashion compared to this. Is the orange one in the background
It
right
is.
there? Yeah.
It is. They still have a lot. It looks like compared.
I'll buy it for $1 at the yard sale.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll buy the orange one at 80% off.
Mhm.
I'm waiting.
With a team member with me.
That's the best way to do it.
It's free.
So that was A Quiet Place, the merch, the details of the house, the release video. But before we fully move on from that, I want to get into one thing about the release video. Otis.
Woo!
And I know we already saw him, but I had to bring it back on its own slide
I love
because
him.
look at him. Look at him.
He's
Get a
just so proud.
Better view. Look at that.
He reminds me of something, and I can't put my finger on it.
He still looks like someone from All Real Monsters to me.
Oh,
He does.
he reminds me of the Hocus Pocus book.
Yes. Book.
That's what it reminds me of, with the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like his own living thing, just like the book too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I kind of like that comparison.
And that's what he reminds me of, the Hocus Pocus book.
I feel like we have to get some kind of theming on the arches this year, right?
I've seen multiple people talk about projection mapping. Just put Otis there with projection mapping. Do you know how easy that is
Yeah.
compared to like having to decorate it?
I like that.
Yeah. Why not, right?
Okay.
So once it's dark out, Otis takes over.
Yeah.
Boom. Again, we don't know if Otis is going to be used at all outside of the marketing.
We hope he is.
But they put him on a lot of stuff already, so we believe in you, Otis. You'll be around.
We
I
love
hope.
Otis.
All right, so let's move on to the other news that came with this, and that is going to be Hollywood dates and tickets, because they had neither, not even dates until this moment.
They barely had a
That's
website.
crazy.
Yeah. It is what we expected. It's going to start the week after Orlando, so September 5th, running through November 3rd.
Feels early for them still. But
It is a bit early for them. But hey, here we are. So they get a nice little run themselves. And all the tickets are now available. So we can go a little bit into detail on those. It's a lot to look at, but they have every ticket option, whether that's single night, multi-night, frequent fears, RIP tours, after 2 express, day and night. Plenty of options as usual. It seems like in Hollywood, the prices are pretty stagnant. There's some change, but for the most part, they've stayed relatively on the same level, it seems. So that's good. Hopefully Orlando kind of follows the same suit, but I don't know if I'm hopeful.
I'm expecting not good things in July.
Yeah.
Not good things. Saving my pennies right now.
I don't think about it.
Let's take one quick look here at the difference between frequent fear and ultimate fear. You can get up to 33 nights if you get the standard frequent fear. With the ultimate fear, of course, you get every night, which is going to be 40 nights this year for Hollywood. The blockouts for the frequent fear are not bad. They start October 5th, which is the first Saturday of October. And then it's going to be every Friday and Saturday up until the 26th of October.
Oh,
So it's really not that bad.
That's nice that they get September.
Mm-hmm.
it's not bad at all for them. We usually only get the first and the last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it won't be too bad. Let's see. Frequent Fear Plus with Express $729 in Orlando this year. That is a actually a number I'd accept, to be fair.
Isn't that around where?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Because
it was
wasn't it
last
like
year.
a almost?
That's only a
100?
tad over. So
I think
if
it
that
was
We'll
is,
accept that.
if that is the correct amount, I'm not going to complain too much. I was more worried about it getting up to more like 800 this year.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I'm worried when we reach the 4 digits, like very close to them.
Plus
The plus.
parking if you don't have an annual pass, though. You have to factor in it. It starts to get expensive. If you don't have that annual pass, that includes parking every night. You just
Mhm.
had to use it. So it is expensive.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I don't know if this is going to be accurate, but I hope you are correct, Orlando Park Central, because that is a not terrible jump at all. And Huntland confirming, yes, it is the earliest for Hollywood ever. So it is quite early for them. But I like to see that. I mean, they're still a week behind, but now they're basically caught up to where we were 4 years ago, 5 years
Yeah.
ago. So
Before we started the Labor Day thing.
yeah, not bad. Not
I don't
bad.
even remember a life, and I know I went before that, but like, it just feels right. Labor Day weekend is like the opening weekend celebration.
Mm.
Cannot imagine living in Hollywood and that not being my like norm.
All right, so let's move on from Hollywood tickets and get to the more fun stuff, which is going back to A Quiet Place. I don't have it on the screen because I just got these now. Thank you, Jonathan, for sending them to us. But we have Jess's favorite segment,
Murdy tweets.
and he is saying a lot about The Last of Us. So I'm just going to read
The
through a
Last
few
of Us?
Yeah, he went off.
You're gonna call it The Last of
I'm
Us
gonna
through
do
the
it all
entire season.
season.
There's not a single
On
zombie
November
involved.
2nd, I'm going to be like, A Quiet Place.
Not one Pedro Pascal to be
Nope.
seen. And
Well-
you're going to still call it The Last of Us.
Yep.
You're gonna curse the house too.
Yeah, don't do
What do you mean curse? Anyways,
Yeah,
the, first,
you know, it wasn't great.
the first question is: the team that worked on La Lechuza and the Chucky puppets last year also working on this? Murdy says yes, and other things. So going over to who is going to work on these, it's not just going to be some cheap shove scare actors in a costume, monsters. They are going to use like animatronics of some sort
good.
as well.
Yeah.
The Chucky ones were so good. Well, let's choose it as well. But like, oh my God, Chucky. I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, Chucky's was great.
And a similar type question where he gives a lot less detail. How will it work since the monsters are big? Will it be mostly puppetry like American Werewolf in London and Stranger Things 2? John Murdy says they are big. Oh, we have some ideas.
Okay.
That's hopeful that he didn't just say, yeah, puppetry.
So both. It sounds like lots of different things.
Exactly.
Like different forms. I can
Yeah.
kind of see that.
That's how this house works. Is a lot of different special effects and gags and stuff to make it.
You could see like a not. This is the worst example, but in Dragons, how you had the arm come out, but like a tentacle, and that's a puppet. Or okay, Depths of Fear, more like that, where it came down from below and stuff like that. Because they don't all need to be one big. We need a couple of those, but levels keep us on our toes because that's where I think they're going to succeed in this.
Some projection, but not too much. I hope it doesn't ever rely on projection.
I hope not. I am worried for the depth that they might need that we could get in projections, a few like screen-based type things. I hope that's not the case, but it just kind of
Stranger
feels
Things
like,
too.
Like it.
yeah, it feels like they might have to go
They're
that
going to
way
do
a
some
bit.
of it.
Yeah.
They get the scale.
All
Yeah.
I can imagine is Will standing, the little mannequin, in front of that really bad screen.
I really hope we don't have a bunch of static stuff. I hope they.
That would be the worst. The worst. We know how I felt about Stranger Things Volume 2. Seasons 2 and 3, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever.
The next one we have is looking forward to see what you and your team creates out of this. Watching the movies tomorrow to study up. Quick question. All the actors within this house, are they going to be learning sign language or only certain actors for certain scenes? Murdy answers by saying, I always try to stay as true to the film as possible.
So he didn't answer the question.
That
No.
was a non-answer. But that's a Murdy.
But Murdy
question.
probably doesn't know, to be fair. That's like a casting show director, like specific thing, I feel like.
I would hope he knows a bit.
Yeah, but he's probably not going to sit there and like know the finer details right now.
Murdy rarely directly answers a question.
No. But that does sound like he's going to, where sign language was used, it will be used in the film, it will be used in the house.
They're not going to shoehorn it into places where it's not.
Another question. Are you still going to use the same layout as Universal Hotel and Evil Dead Rising? No, we've been secretly working on that space for a while now. Shh, don't tell anyone.
Secretly.
Get it? Shh.
Oh. Like, haven't we been talking about the Ube venue for
Yes,
months?
Ube.
Ube.
Another question. Kind of weird, but will this house be quiet? He says, very different approach with audio.
This house be quiet.
So, yeah, that's kind of a very Murdy answer there. He's not being clear whatsoever.
Yeah. He doesn't want to spoil it.
Of course. But it does sound like it's trying to take a different approach than they normally would. So
Yeah.
there will be times where I guess they are trying to at least have the effect of you are attempting to be quiet.
I want them to do like Terror Mind style and give us all noise canceling headphones as we walk in. That's what I want. So really, that's a challenge. Everyone has to go through the house once this year with like earplugs in or something. Give yourself the full experience.
Get yelled at. You don't know it. Opposite screaming at you. You're just like, dude.
That's what I do normally. What are you talking about?
Man, that's true. That is true. Another question from Alex M. Bush, who was or is still in this stream. Was sound design a key aspect? Are you guys looking for ways to additionally dampen and reduce bleed of external audio for portion by portion of the house? Murdy says, all were part of our considerations. We actually did a mock-up before HHN ended last year.
So they've been testing stuff out.
Yeah, it was like a mock-up where they were in the house testing sound bleed, probably.
Yeah. So
Sneaky.
clearly they are going to try to make some of this quiet. Some portions will have the attempt at the very least.
I wonder like what their approach is on that. Like, is it more curtains, more insulation? Like what? Like, I just want to pick their brains on this. I know I can't, but I want to know as like the theater set person, like, how are you doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Also in the Ube venue.
And then the last one I have, kind of going back to what was confirmed earlier about the Abbott family, he was directly asked if members of the Abbott family will be present along the lines of Joel and Ellie from Last of Us. He says, I'm sure you'll see them. So, again, confirming that the Abbott family will be at least featured in Hollywood's version. So a lot of typical Murdy answers, but also a decent amount of info there. We know they'll be using animatronics to an extent. Sounds like probably puppets as well.
Mhm.
They're going to attempt some quieter, at least, portions of this house, and we're going to see the Abbott family. So he gave us a decent amount, to be fair.
Thanks, Murdy.
What a guy.
All the way from Ireland.
All right. So going back to the comments, Arkham says, when you look at the monsters, you're going to need more than just puppetry or animatronics. Which, yeah, I think in some scenes you might. But even then, I don't know, because for the more close-up ones or like where they're kind of like just seeing the head, that still can be puppetry too. So I think you can literally get away with just puppetry and animatronics. So you aren't going to stick anyone in like a costume, right?
No, and I think they learned last year from the bloaters they can't just build a costume out off of someone and expect it to be okay for 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
So they learned a lot of lessons last year. And from prior years, but I think that the bloaters very specifically have taught them a lesson with what they can and can't do to human bodies.
Mm-hmm. Twisted Thrill says 4-legged stilt walker, maybe?
In a scene or two, I could potentially
I could see something like that. For
Or
sure.
like the frog guy. Wasn't the Weekend frog guy 4-legged?
Yeah.
That was fucking terrifying. And he ran at us in Hollywood.
The speed was crazy, which would be great for these monsters because they're extremely fast.
Oh, can you imagine if we're like walking on the bridge and one just like trots by?
That would be terrifying. I would love it.
Oh,
Would be terrifying.
my body would just be gone.
Chico Soul says, I'm super cool with the original houses this year, so IPs are just an added bonus. That's basically how I feel every year, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm an original guy, so the IPs that end up being great, I'm just like,
Yeah.
more to like.
And I've already had my like big IPs I would want, even if they weren't the best houses. So for me, anything is just like a cool. I get to experience a quiet place as a house.
Yeah.
The hunt line. It will be a haunted house, John Murdy.
Yeah.
basically what he says. Yeah.
I can just imagine like Murdy with the biggest shit-eating grin as he fucking sends those tweets too, and that's what makes me want to punch him. It's like I just know he's doing that. It's like, oh, you think you're so fucking clever.
Although if you sent him a question that just said, will this be a haunted house? He'd probably send you a poem from like 1736 that you'd have to decipher to even figure out if it's a haunted house.
John, online, start the tweet. I'm not doing it. I talk so much shit about Murdy. I will not be interacting with it.
And to the hunt line one more time, it could be a mix of soundproofing within higher walls and heavy high curtain use since the Ube is a taller space.
Yeah.
That is true.
I'm so excited just to see the differences too, especially considering how Chucky was last year.
Going over to Cosmic Joker, I think this is referring to something we said a little bit ago about the grunting about The Last of Us. What was wrong with the bloaters?
And I think it was referring to the costume issue.
Oh, the
Yes.
costume issue. Okay.
I thought the bloaters looked great. I just personally knew people that played the bloaters like very closely, and all of them got injured throughout the run, which is why a lot of the time when you went through the house, you would only see one. They both wouldn't be there. Specifically my like closest friend got moved to another house for like a month and a half because he broke his foot as the bloater. So there's just the costumes were just too heavy and you couldn't move a lot in them. They thought they could do it with really tall guys who they did fit tests on, and they learned they couldn't. And none of that's a secret. Like it's been very public at this point about it. Just like the
Mouth Brooders.
that one. Yeah.
From Depths of Fear.
Same concept, just different costume.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes they try things and they don't work, and you kind of have to move. Well, they didn't really move on in Last of Us.
No.
They did move on in Depths of Fear.
Yeah. There was nothing they could do because you kind of need the bloaters in that house. So whoever could deal with it.
Mary asks, what is UBE?
Ube.
Ube.
UBE is ube.
It's like a
Ube.
purple sweet potato. Really good.
What does UBE actually stand for? Because I don't know.
I know I've read this multiple times. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's like their black box venue.
Universal Black Box Experience.
Yes.
That's
Sure.
what it's going to be called now. We just call it Ube because the first time we saw it on a map, I remember specifically, I think Duff and I were like, what the fuck is the Ube venue?
Yeah. The first time I saw it listed that way, I was like, what? But this is the former Walking Dead location. This is where Evil Dead Rise was last year. And as Murdy had said, which we talked about earlier, that they've done a lot of work in this space to make it not just working around the existing skeleton of the Walking Dead attraction, but kind of a black box space that they can do whatever they need to in. You and Murdy would be besties, Jess. Make it happen.
If I ever meet him, I'm just going to sing Murdy tweets and walk away. I'm not going to do anything else. Besties.
Oh, here we go. Got an answer. Albert Rodriguez, thank you. Universal Boulevard event venue.
I was close.
Ube.
Sweet potato. It's really good cheesecake.
So I think it's probably a good time to talk about how this house or this lineup in general is going to look, because we're now down to in Orlando just 3 more house announcements.
Oh shit!
Is this our headliner IP, or do you think it's possibly going to be Ghostbusters? Because I think the other one's rumored. This is at least a co-headliner, right?
Yeah.
This is the headliner, I would say.
I don't see Ghostbusters because I feel like if Ghostbusters was going to co-headline, that one would have gone first.
Yeah.
I think that Ghostbusters is on there. It's going to bring people in, but I think they're putting all their coins into this. Like it really does feel like it.
This is their. I think they went with the biggest. They always tend to announce the biggest one first, and I think this is what they expect to be the biggest.
Okay.
Yeah, and Hollywood is literally selling tickets off of just A Quiet Place right now, and I think that speaks volumes.
That is true. Yeah, that is true.
Because if they wanted to put Ghostbusters as a headliner, it would have been Ghostbusters.
I mean, they have the weekend.
Yeah, that's another.
So they definitely think
that is true.
Place.
Although there was a rumor that Ghostbusters was already supposed to be announced and got pushed back.
But why?
Don't know.
The movie's been out. There's nothing Ghostbusters coming out that would delay it besides Warner.
Yeah.
Which is possible, I guess.
Maybe they want to time the release with the streaming release of the film.
Yeah, digital and streaming maybe. Do we know when that is?
No.
Soon,
but I'm waiting on it so I can finally watch it before it comes to the event.
I think it's already out.
It's on digital. It's not on streaming yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if anybody knows.
So it did, meaning you can purchase it, right?
You can purchase it. Yeah, you can purchase it. You can't get it off Hulu, Netflix.
It's not on HBO Max.
Exactly. Wow. Speaking of hurricanes, it's looking great outside. Where were we? Orlando Park Central Ghostbusters has generational pull. That's a good point. It's going to draw people.
Yeah,
100%.
But it is definitely true.
A Quiet Place is probably a bit more timely, especially for the horror audience, I'd say.
It's also one that we've never had before. I think they like to do something unless it's something like Stranger Things or something huge. They usually like to lead with, look at the new flashy thing. What's
Yeah.
And going over to Arkham, do you think we'll get 4 announcement videos, or will there be a video for the Hollywood exclusive?
I think we'll probably get videos for the last 3 we have, and then Hollywood will do whatever.
I think we'll get a video there too, because if you go back to I think to Killer Clowns 2 years ago, they got the exclusive video for that,
which was the best announcement video that year too.
It was. So I think they'd probably still roll with it, unless there's some crazy last minute change and they just got it. I don't know. Other than that, I think we get it for all of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let's see. And it's already out on digital from Galvanized.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime and Apple TV, but there's no DVD release date yet.
Cosmic Joker, Hollywood has many headliner potential.
Agreed.
Yeah, there's probably 3 houses you could look at if what we think is true. Ghostbusters in the weekend, and of course A Quiet Place could all kind of be headliners of an event on their own, and have been, actually. If it's A Quiet Place this year, Ghostbusters is basically headlined an event with Stranger Things, and the weekend has headlined an event. So
Ghostbusters is definitely the second one of that.
Ghostbusters is filling the classic slasher spot this year. It's not a slasher, but it's like the classic one, even though it's the new movie.
I feel like Insidious is kind of.
Oh, see, I don't. That's
that
not.
spot.
That's like still a modern IP to me. Like I don't know. Ghostbusters, even though it's the new movie, it's like it's a generational IP, like the comment said before. So
yeah,
it's fine. It's
Yeah,
just kind
I
of
could see
filling the nostalgic. That's a better way to put it. The nostalgic
Nostalgic.
role this year. Not the slasher is definitely Insidious. I agree. Or in our case, it's triplets.
Yeah. Speaking of Insidious, Mike Daniels brings up that it's arguably a bigger horror franchise than Quiet Place.
Agreed.
Ghostbusters might compete with it, but just based on the size of the franchises, Insidious is larger. That is true.
That is true.
Especially on the horror scale.
Yeah.
I just think A Quiet Place is currently more in the mainstream than Insidious is at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also, we've had Insidious before.
Mhm.
So they usually like to lead with something like, for the first time ever type of situation. Saying like leading with an Insidious announcement. It's like Insidious is back. I think it's a big franchise, but I don't think it hits as much as A Quiet. We snagged A Quiet Place.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do.
And we've had Insidious twice at the event. Like it's had its own house and it's been in a compilation house. So
C-Town says the new films aren't popular enough, and current rumors are that the house is based around those. The originals could be the headliner as it stands. I'd assume Quiet Place is the headliner. I think that's referring to Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters or Insidious. I'm not.
Or
quite
Insidious,
sure.
that's
I'm not
true.
sure
One
what
of the
it
two.
is.
But I think that's a fair comment for both of those,
yeah.
to be honest. Galvanized Horror says Ghostbusters announcement is when Orlando will drop multi-night event. It's not a bad guess, especially if we're looking at it as kind of the next headliner and the next people grabber. They typically try to line up multi-night with something pretty big. So
you think we're going to get multi-nights even earlier this year? Because traditionally that's in July. You think they're going to hold off on Ghostbusters till July?
They could. They typically do hold on to one of their IPs that are bigger until July.
Everything's up different this year. We've never
That's
had
true.
a year.
There's no precedent right now.
Yeah,
to
there's
follow.
none.
I could see Monsters being announced next, like 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Monsters
makes sense for sure.
What? Where's Jonathan? He's still crying that Orlando's not going to get the weekend, probably. That's all. So he couldn't make it tonight.
He's crying at the club. I'm dancing at the club.
To the weekend. Boomer bait.
That's what we're going to call it from now on, the Boomer Bait House.
Boomer bait house.
I love that.
Albert says Hollywood still has Texas Chainsaw on the table this year.
That's
It's looking
true.
like it's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And based off what we've seen, it looks like it might be in a more original take on it. It's pretty exciting, but I don't think it'll be the headliner by any means.
No, they have a lot of star power over there.
They do.
Their lineup is looking crazy this year based on the spec map, which good for them. They need it.
And they've had TCM so many times over there. I don't think they can try to use that as a headliner. I think people are a little tired of it.
Well, their face is tired. Like himself, he needs a break.
I really hope there's an announcement that no one expected just for shock value.
Me too.
That'd be great.
I would love it.
Yeah, I think we're kind of to the point where we're confident with everything that's rumored, but we've been tricked before. It wouldn't be the first time. Stuff's been pulled before really late. Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
So you never know. It could happen. I wouldn't expect it.
I think in Orlando it would take an 11th house because I feel like there's enough confidence around the 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they were able to keep something under wraps, I could see that.
Oh, if they can you imagine if somehow, some way we get to like August in like the beginning of August and they're like, by the way, we hid this permit from you motherfuckers. I think it would be like, SpongeBob's brain when they're like all freaking out. That's how Orlando would be if we announced an 11th.
The Orlando fan base would just explode.
Universal would have to close the gates that day because everyone would just be running around going, what?
Yeah. They released exclusive merch for it right at the same time. People would lose it.
Oh, can you imagine? I'd lose my shit. I'd go crazy. Mike Daniel says, welcome to announcement season 2024, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter.
Yeah.
That basically sums up what this announcement season has been. It's flipped things on its head a bit.
Yeah, a bit.
So we'll see. We could get tickets earlier than usual. We could get a crazy announcement out of nowhere. I don't know. It's all possible. The Hunt line says, "I'll take a 4th Llorona house over TCM." Yeah, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any
That
any
is
year.
so good.
You could have La Llorona every year. I'm okay with that.
I miss her.
Every
I
year.
hope she's doing good.
I'm on the same page here. I can't wait for food announcements.
Same.
Yep, same.
Well, they're gonna
Every year.
we're gonna have them by team member preview for sure because the booths are open for that, and then the premium event.
Mhm.
So, well, also when the booths start going up, I think like 2 weeks before the event last year, we were posting TikToks with some menus. So
Mhm.
anything's possible.
Mentally, I'm at Midsummer, and Murdy is about to drop some heat on me.
Oh, when's Midsummer?
July 28th is the panel, I believe.
So we got some
Sunday.
time still.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, what's he gonna drop there? Monstros.
It's an original.
The Monsters of Latin America, part dos.
Yeah, something original.
It's gonna be part dos with the same monsters.
Quonset Hut, probably.
Quonset Hut.
Yeah.
Actually, it's gonna be Dead
You
Exposure.
mean Toxic Tunnel?
Toxic
Toxic Tunnel.
Toxic Tunnel.
Dead Exposure.
Albert asks if we saw the Luchador scare zone on the Hollywood map.
Did we, Albert?
We did.
We did.
We
Did
sure
we?
did.
I'm excited.
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic, but I'm excited as a wrestling fan. 'Cause-
Mostly for the location it's in too, because it's in the location where they typically try to actually have a scare zone rather than just have scare actors out. I'm into it.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if it has anything to do with the house that we really don't know much about yet. But that'd be pretty cool.
I don't even know what the house could like. All I keep thinking about is Monstros. Like, I don't know what else it would be that spits us out into luchadors. If there's a Z on luchadors, I'm launching myself off a bridge.
Luchadors. If Monstros is a copy and paste, I will be so mad. I would be too. It's a little literal copy and paste.
But we're
I
not gonna
don't
do
expect Orlando to do that though.
We're not gonna do that.
Although I was shocked that they're using the same 3, to be fair. So who knows? They can shock me.
We
again.
all were.
Do you think Luchadors actually features like actual wrestlers? Like actual luchadors?
They just like hire all the indie wrestlers in California.
yeah,
and
just hire or hire like
what if they
use
put a
the
ring?
likeness of like
You know how it's a dead end down there to Super Silly Funland? They put a ring right at the end of the zone. And that's where I'll be for the
Can you
whole
imagine?
fucking... No, yes, I
They're
can.
jumping off like the top rope and shit right in the zone.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be me going, Moonsault!
like a Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
like, or something.
That's why I
Like-
think it could be cool. Because Rey Mysterio himself, he does a lot of cool gears. Like based off comic books,
Yeah.
horror characters, like
It's just like a drunk guest runs in the ring and gets 619.
do you know what I was
There's a lot
thinking?
of really cool luchadors.
Luchasaurus.
Luchasaurus.
Luchasaurus?
okay.
Have you seen him?
He's not.
From AEW.
He's
He
not-
wears like one of
he's
those
kill switching now.
articulated like yeah, I'm not kidding. He's a fucking I don't watch now, so
His
he's
name
Kill
is
Switch.
Kill Switch.
Okay, but his name used to be Luchasaurus.
Luchasaurus.
I'm gonna find a picture.
Yeah.
And he's like this tall motherfucker too.
He's huge.
Arkham says, from the facade at the Parisian Courtyard, we could see the return of El Cucuy if it is indeed a theater. I'd like to see that. If anything is going to return, I like it when it's things I didn't see in Hollywood. And El Cucuy, from everything I know. Oh my God. From everything I've heard, El Cucuy was phenomenal, so I would love to see that. If anything has to come back as a repeat, something I haven't seen does the job. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I can't not think about Luchasaurus now.
I'm heading to Orlando
He was
for
a
the
big brother.
first time this year. I'm gonna laugh if Monstros is a copy paste.
I would laugh for you. Oh, it's Brianna. Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be.
No.
Orlando is not. Do you know how much shit the fan base would talk if Orlando did a copy paste from Hollywood? Like, they're not doing that.
They know us too well.
We're gonna set fire to the soundstage if that happens. Like,
Mhm.
it's gonna be the mob song from Beauty and the Beast.
Minions does have a luchador villain.
They do.
Yeah, you do.
Get the tables.
Chairs.
Tables.
It's gonna be
chairs,
tables, ladders, and
chairs.
chairs. The zone.
Forrest asks if we have any thoughts on the potential tribute store. Any hints on the summer tribute store? Nothing yet that really. There's a lot of Easter eggs, but nothing that I think is hinting towards what the tribute store will be. Typically, once we hit like late July, they'll start dropping those hints about what's coming.
And Skipper Haas is a good person to follow because he's normally the one telling you when it's been dropped.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
A little, hey, look at this that just popped up.
That wasn't there yesterday. I don't even know what it could be. Like, well, we don't know Zones yet, so yeah.
We don't know enough about the event to guess a tribute store at this point. If Hollywood can have a giant owl woman eating babies taking up 3/4 of a room, I need Orlando to step it up. Take up the whole room. You just gotta squeeze past Lechuza.
Just go between her legs. Just, excuse me.
Walk through the mouth?
Yeah.
Oh, like the giant sack opening?
That'll be something. Like Alice Cooper?
Oh, God. Do you think we're going to walk into his giant
2
sack?
minutes, right? We're trying to hard
Oh,
out.
no, we can do 15. He doesn't record till 9. We're good.
Oh. Saw the Lucha monster masks by Immortal Masks and they look dope as fuck.
Off to Google.
Hey. Find it, Jess.
Lucha.
If Kukui comes back, Danny Trejo needs to return too. I'll always take Danny Trejo anywhere. Why not? Except his tacos. No one eats tacos. Let's
You would
see.
eat Danny Trejo's taco?
Okay,
Yeah,
this is
have you
the
ever had
first one that comes up.
No,
Not very good. Oh shit.
This is the
Never.
first one that comes up on Google.
Oh. What
Like,
did you
what-
Google?
I'm
what'd
like,
you
I don't
Google,
know what
Scary luchador.
Immortal Masks, Lucha Monsters.
Yeah. Google that.
They're expensive. They're silicone too. Wow. I mean, Immortal Masks is good. Oh, wow.
Going back to the tribute store, the current summer tribute store, Galvanized Horror, points out there is an arcade cabinet that is covered with a new game coming soon sign. Yeah, the cabinet's like covered up fully. And yeah, so I think that is going to be something that when they do give us a hint, that'll be utilized to give us the hint. Albert asked, do you think the Universal Monsters house could be Silver Scream Queens?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be exactly Silver Scream Queens, but something along those lines.
Inspired
probably.
by, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I like that zone was good because it wasn't just the female characters, it was also like original characters that they made female, like off of other monsters. So I think it's just going to be something refreshing because we've seen the monsters recently a lot. And let's breathe some fresh air into it.
Mhm.
So, and a female led house, like our last female led monster house was badass. So,
It's true. More sack. Well, we're gonna get
More
more sack.
sack.
It's gonna happen. We're gonna get more sack of some
can
sort.
you imagine if we had
Seal
bi-coastal sack?
Like Coastal Seal Bone sack.
You go through
Mm.
Silbone Sack in Orlando and then you end up in Hollywood. It's like a
Like you transport?
yeah.
It's like an actual portal.
That's how big his sack is. It goes from Florida to California.
Do they just use like the Mario portals? You just
I was thinking the disappearing cabinets from Harry Potter more. You put one in one place and one in the other. It's a toxic
It's a
tunnel.
toxic
Yeah.
tunnel.
So one sack is a toxic tunnel.
that is a toxic tunnel.
Let's get us back on that.
Well,
It's
we're
not
gonna,
off.
we're gonna go back off topic. Mike Daniels asked, I know this is off topic, but there are still rumors of there being an icon for this year's event.
Otis.
Yeah, I mean, that's a slight rumor.
I'm kidding.
But yes, there is still the rumor out there where insiders have said it will be this more not physical being, but an overarching thing of some sort. Yeah. Which kind of is Otis sounding, I guess, but that's kind of all we have right now.
Still holding on to Mr. Sweets.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there are still people saying Major Sweets. Who knows? Who knows? He could be Mr. to you.
Ooh.
And something I wanted to get onto because I didn't add photos of it because there wasn't too much additional detail. They swore there would be, but there's not. The hotline says Premium Scream Night still available. Low sales.
I don't know. How many people you think go to HHN in one night? Like on a normal busy ass night. Maybe not a sellout.
5,000.
I can see them having 10,000 at this event.
Yeah,
So I don't think they sold 10,000 tickets in day one.
not at that price.
No.
Or still a large capacity.
Yeah.
I think it'll be pretty limited, to be fair. And I think it's still going to be a high enough number where that price point, when it is, it's not going to immediately sell out if it does at all. That's like, RIP selling out every night if there was 10,000 RIP spots available.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't know if this is going to be like a Taste of Terror case where they discount it. Because then they'd have to.
Well, they did.
Well-
$325 for.
Well,
Oh, you
I mean,
if it doesn't
after
sell.
how, remember how they knocked off like $50, $60 last year?
Yeah, when we decided to go.
So that's the thing. If they were to lower this significantly like that, I would probably jump on this.
What would be the price point?
I don't know. That I would jump on? Or like,
250?
I would 250, I think. Because that's
250?
about
250, I
what
could do
Taste
that.
of Terror was.
Yeah. Well, no, we paid like 80.
Give me a
That's true,
drink
we did
ticket
pay
or two and
significantly less.
$250. I'd
That's
do
the
it.
thing. Alcohol's not included. And I know that they're afraid to do open bars. 2 drink tickets or something would have just like sweetened the deal a little bit.
But for $250, just getting a whole night of like pulsed entry into houses, all the food I want, so I don't have to pay for the stuff I don't like later in the year.
Yeah.
That could be worth it.
Yeah.
Could be. We'll see. I don't know if we'll get to that point, but I might bite.
I did see some tweets that were like, why do you want to go to this? This is going to be the worst of the worst at the event. And I was like, it's going to be a lot of vloggers
Not
and stuff
wrong.
like that.
Not
Like,
wrong.
so if that's not your vibe, I would not suggest going this night because it's got that first mentality written all over it, like Taste of Terror.
It does.
So I think it's something personal, and if you fuck with that, go for it. Also, that price point.
But also with the lower capacities, you're not really going to be like crammed in anywhere, you know?
Not at all.
So
But are you like given like you're given like times to go though, right?
I don't know if you pick a time.
No, it's
I think you just buy a ticket,
the
yeah.
whole event.
Oh, I thought no. I mean like you're given like a certain time to go to the house. Like you have a reservation.
No, I
No.
don't.
Didn't
I
they
think
didn't say
it's-
something?
No. I think it's just the event, but with way less people.
And it's open
Oh.
6:30.
I
to
thought I
2
read
a.m.
something about like how they're gonna give you like a certain time to like I don't know, maybe
Oh,
I misunderstood.
All I saw them say about that at all is staggered entries.
That's maybe
But,
what threw
but
it
that
off.
yeah, that's
That's just
pulsing.
pulsing.
That means they were going to pulse your entry.
Okay.
So it's gonna be like the hurricane night.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which listen, that's something that everyone misses. They used to do more frequently at
Mhm.
HHN that they do at other hunts. So a night of that, I would pay extra for sure. Just
Yeah.
for a night to get it all night, that'd be great.
It was a great night. I went to that night. The
I did
hurricane.
not. We were in California.
Yeah.
Hearing how great it was.
It was great.
Carter Solo says I'm probably the only person who has Ghostbusters at #1 on my hype list. Hollywood.
I don't think you're the only person.
No, there's definitely more. You are not alone. I've heard people say it about Orlando too. There's people who love Ghostbusters who
Yeah.
are always going to put it at the top if it comes.
And I love that for them because that's what they like. I'm gonna be in line for the Monsters house.
A little bit more on Immortal Masks from LC. They've done many masks for Hollywood in the past few years.
Mm.
Toys, momias, and a hefty amount of them. So the Lucha Monsters mask hint at it.
Oh. There's a bat one too. I found like a bat lucha that's really fucking cool. It's on here.
Oh, well, start pulling that up and we'll take a peek.
Bat lucha.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Okay.
Bat lucha.
Could be cool.
Immortal also has some of the ghost masks up.
Oh.
So, I mean, if they literally put them up for sale, that probably is a decent hint.
Ghost Dolls toys.
Ghost Dolls toys. See, Sack is a Mario Portal. It's a thing. Roll with it. Epic Universe Preview Center starts in the Sack.
You scratch shop.
He did-
we have a
Turned
peanut
into-
gallery over
turned
here.
into Shawn Michaels.
Literally, she heard luchadors once and went, "Mm."
Mike Daniels, I don't mean to be that person, but I have heard from a very reliable source that the premium night is being kept to 50% capacity,
That makes sense.
which probably is in that 10 to 15K range about there.
I think they're gonna discount tickets. I'm not lying. Like I see a world where in like a month or two, they're gonna be like, all right.
They're gonna offer like a hefty AP discount or something.
Yeah.
I hope so. Because right now it's only 25 off. Not enough.
And you have to you can't call and order them because they weren't available.
Oh, there's also a debacle about that. So even if you went in person or on the phone, they weren't ready for discounts. So they're like refunding you in 3 to 5 business days your
25.
discount. Yeah, it's
How are you not
Kind of
prepared for the one discount you're offering?
especially when you announced it in advance. It's not like it just came out of nowhere today. You
Yeah.
said it's coming
Yeah.
today. I don't know.
Weird.
The drunks were dropping like sheep at knots a couple years ago. So open bars might not be a great idea.
I agree. Open bars,
No.
no. But drink tickets, something.
Drink tickets give you like
Even if it was like team member preview where drinks are half off. You know what I mean? Like,
oh that would yeah.
like
we could
just
see that.
something. If you trust your team members enough, like it's lower capacity. You just have to have security on standby just like you do for team member preview
Hmm.
and for every other night. But To me, this is just a paid team member preview.
Well, to be fair, Team Member Preview is also nicknamed like Termination
Yeah,
Night,
I know.
So yeah.
I was there last year. I was watching all the walkouts. I knew people who got walked out in fire. I forgot about that.
Jess, I'm going to leave this to you. From Forrest, still a chance we get something Beetlejuice related.
A new movie on September 6th.
That I saw the
Did you see
new
the trailer?
trailer. It looks fun.
Is it okay? It's good. I haven't. Okay, so sidebar real quick. When it dropped, I was so overwhelmed. I've only watched it on my phone once, and I have not been able to watch it on a TV because I sob.
I saw it in the theater.
I'm so afraid to watch it on a movie theater screen. I'm gonna be
I do want
gone.
to see that. I've been impressed by everything I've seen from this film so far, even though I was pretty down on it when they were first talking about it.
No,
So,
they have put their hearts into this
Mm.
fucking movie. I would love to see Beetlejuice at the event, but I don't know in what facet at this point because I just don't see it happening right now. Unfortunately.
back to Arkham for the Mummy Q house. Which do you think is likely, toxic tunnel or dead exposure?
I think something with an X in it.
Yeah.
As much as I would love it to be Toxic Tunnel, I feel like that's a little bit of a reach.
Yeah.
And it's a long shot. It would be amazing. I think Dead Exposure makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, it does. Especially now with them having come and grabbed originals from us.
Mhm.
Right.
Vice versa.
Or Corpse. People have
Corpse.
the
Yeah,
corpse
that's
rumor
true.
out there.
Corpse?
Corpse. It was like a scare zone in Hollywood.
And
There was no
friggin-
Z?
No, this is he.
Is he?
Oh,
Corpse.
Corpses.
Sorry, you didn't
Corpse.
accentuate it, so
Sorry.
I didn't think it was there.
Corpse.
Interesting. I kind of want to see them do Dead Exposure because just from art, like Patient Zero that I saw on Arcos, that was terrifying. And Hollywood scares me more than Orlando generally. So I feel like they could really be successful. We'll see.
Yeah. First team member preview, a drunk team member asked me to spank his wife. It's a unique night. Yeah.
Wow. That's bonding.
No,
It's
here.
bondage.
Let's do our favorite thing. A round of Room 101.
Mm.
Any announcements so far you'd get rid of if you had to? Oh, man.
If I had to get rid of one,
A gun is being held to our heads.
and I had to change one announcement, one house that's, yeah, I have one. No, because I kind of want to see. I want to see
Yeah.
the train wreck.
I'm like, don't say
Well,
triplets because that's
yeah.
that's low hanging fruit.
Are you going triplets?
No,
That was the most painful. No.
because I want to
No.
see. I want to see what triplets.
I have an answer, and it's gonna piss people off.
I have an answer, too.
Mine's goblins,
Ooh,
That's kind of where my second
Alright.
one would go.
but just because.
But I kind of want to see how that one's pulled off too.
Yeah, it just. But like I think it was you who said it's giving like spirits mixed with wicked growth mixed
Yeah.
with. Can't remember the other one. So like, I don't want to see it now because I like wicked growth so much and I hated spirits so much.
I don't remember the other one I said.
triplets?
No, it was mixed with three.
Oh,
things.
there's three.
Wicked growth, yeah, it was wicked growth, spirits, and
Oh, yeah. I don't remember. Anyways, I have an answer that's going to be a little outside the box.
Dragons.
Dragons?
oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. That's yeah. It's not gonna be a house. I know that's probably what you mean, but I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna abolish Unmasking the Horror starting August 12th
Oh,
because I have to avoid social media for like 3 weeks.
I like that.
Also, if
like
you're one
that
of the
choice.
people who post it before the event, fuck you.
Oh no,
No, fuck you. You
Just-
know what you're doing.
just spoil tag it somehow.
yeah, do the
Instagram.
like you
Yeah.
know like the nudity cover on Twitter that I guess we're gonna lose soon.
Oh yeah.
Just do
We're not.
that.
It's still gonna be censored.
Whatever. Do that, but
Yeah.
do the nudity tag if you're gonna
Please.
upload pictures, please. Or I'm blocking you if I.
Jonathan has to censor so much porn over a thing now.
That's the bio.
No, they're literally like putting actual pornography
Yeah.
in our replies. It has turned into Twitter
What was
has turned
His joke the other day.
into a fucking nightmare.
What house are you the least excited for? Link in bio.
No, yesterday he did a tweet and we were joking about it, and I literally looked it up. There was fucking porn.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I was joking, but there's actually porn. You have to go delete, Jonathan.
That's the life on Twitter right now.
He like tweeted it 5 minutes ago.
All right, we got like 5 minutes left before
All right.
we gotta bounce.
I want to hop onto this one real quick before we go, because we haven't talked about this on the stream. Arkham Scare Zones on Orlando's spec map. If you guys don't remember, that is the Sugar Skull. That's me. That's the... Oh, where'd it go?
That's me.
It could have been way worse.
That's not what.
Could have been way worse.
It's just Marty and me.
Oh, Marty.
It could have been so much worse.
Anyway, it's going to be the Sugar Skull, the
Creepy
evil doll toy thing.
Creepy evil dolls, toys, ghosts.
Yeah. And I'm missing one.
The Megan.
Oh, no. That's
no, not Megan.
And well, that's not a Scare Zone.
Oh, I thought that.
Was there not a third?
I think there's
Scare
only
Zone?
two.
Okay, good. We're
2
caught up
plus
there.
Megan.
Megan returning makes sense, I guess, just because the crowds it drew was kind of insane at points.
Put them
It's
on the
very
Mel
fun.
stage.
Yes.
Please.
Give them a stage. Give them set times.
Or give us the redacted pop-up stage from 27, the AOV one. The hurricane stage. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah,
Right in front of
sure.
horror makeup.
Give them
especially since we don't have Lagoon Show.
advertise.
I don't know if we can though because of the parade.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, because those floats are a little too big.
Otherwise, I think it's kind of too. We don't have enough knowledge of what they are. I don't really have too much to say about the Scare Zones.
Do you think we're gonna get another spec map with the zones, or do you think?
I think they're gonna do like one of those like, hey, 90% of things have been announced, but we're just gonna flesh everything out for you. I do. Galvanized Horror found a way to make us money. Murdy tweets via OnlyFans. Mike Daniels, post for free? No. If I did the Unmasking the Horror Tour earlier, I would create an OnlyFans for HHN content and charge people. Even if only 10 people pay, maybe it'll pay for the tour.
I love the way you think, Mike.
And I guess one last thing before we head out here, because I think this is a great idea. Give us horror makeup show HHN version. Because
I've been asking for that for so long. Open it up, make it a little bit raunchier.
yeah, I would love that.
Yeah. Oh, I wish.
But we kind of have a hard out tonight. It's right about now. So thanks so much for joining us. We have our first IP announcement. We have our first Hollywood announcement. We have the first Hollywood anything, dates, tickets, announcement, all that. So yeah, it's a pretty good week, and I expect us to have quite a few more good weeks coming, to be honest, which means we'll be back on live stream.
Yeah.
Any last parting words before we leave everyone?
No.
See you in the streets.
See you in the streets.
Thanks for joining, everyone.